What if I told you everything you believe about the stock market is wrong? Would you take the red pill or the blue pill? Choose quickly, because we are going to be taking a look at why Bitcoin is safer and less volatile than the stock market. I'm also going to give you 23 reasons why you need to be exiting stonks and betting big on Bitcoin. Let's get it. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. My name is Ben, and every day I tell you what is going on in crypto. And I'm back from vacation, ready to jump back into regular content. Today, we are going to be examining the crypto markets as suddenly everyone has seemingly turned bullish as Bitcoin is challenging the 11K threshold. I'm going to give you the most bullish case for Bitcoin you have heard yet in the short term. 23 indicators are pointing toward a price increase for the price of Bitcoin, so you may want to pay attention if you like money, that is. And even people who hate themselves love money. But one other thing people love is Tesla, the safest bet on the stock market, the chain link of stonks, if you will. But the reality is, Tesla is more volatile than you think, and we're going to examine why people may be better off and safer investing in Bitcoin. And something also happened over the weekend so terrible that it almost broke one of the top crypto exchanges. Find out what this terrible thing was and what you can do to prevent collateral damage ever happening to you. Right now, according to CoinMarketCap, the crypto markets are coming in at $350 billion in market cap. The overall market is up about 2.5% at the time of this recording. Bitcoin dominance still looking pretty weak at about 57.6%. I'm honestly expecting that number to get back over 60% once Bitcoin really starts running up. For the rest of the top 10, Cardano is crushing it right now, as it is up almost 10%. Every coin in the top 10 is up over 2.5%, so that's great news. Polkadot and Bitcoin SV also are both standing out with over 7% gains. Now, looking at the Bitcoin 1 month chart, you will see that we are still in an overall downtrend, as we haven't been able to establish new higher highs since the big drop in early September. Usually, this means that we could be due for a big price drop, but there are a lot of indicators saying otherwise. In fact, 23 of them. That's right, 23 and me. 23 bullish indicators, that is, not the DNA testing company that sells all of your genealogy to marketing companies by examining your DNA. Who knew the tiny molecules that make up your entire existence are predetermined to like certain things? Weird. But in an article published yesterday, a pseudo-anonymous trader, how mysterious, declared that there are 23 key technical and fundamental factors pushing a bullish narrative for Bitcoin. One of the main indicators he indicated is the funding mechanism employed by the Bitcoin futures markets. This mechanism is designed to keep the market neutralized, if you will. Since Bitcoin dropped, there have been negative funding rates, possibly pushing the market lower. But over the last week, that has changed, and the funding rates have pushed more toward a neutral position, and this is good. The great thing is, you don't even really need to understand the implications of all that to know that this is bullish in the short term. A mystery trader said it, and that's enough for me. But in all seriousness, the fact is there are a huge amount of factors pushing a bullish future for Bitcoin in this midterm. And it does give me some pause to believe that maybe we won't even fill the CME gap at $9,600 for now. I'm thinking possibly in November, we could see the price of Bitcoin move to 14K before getting rejected, pushing prices back down again before taking off for good around the turn of 2021, as we say goodbye to the worst year ever. Some of the other factors include the market being less leveraged, on-chain indicators showing the market sentiment is not overheated and has found an even keel, and that Bitcoin's fundamentals are strengthening. This basically has to do with mining, shock to supply, and hash rate. And no, that's not the amount of hash browns you can eat per hour. We are going to be moving a bit back into the trading world on the channel over the next few months. And if you're interested in Bitcoin trading, you can check out Bybit by visiting bybit.bitboy.live and joining our free trading group, Bit Squad Traders, on Telegram. Both of those links will be down below in the description. But remember, leverage trading is very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, so please trade safely. Speaking of things that are safe, the stock market has been widely seen as much safer than the crypto markets and Bitcoin itself. But in reality, this is simply not true. One of the biggest go-to stocks that plebs love is Tesla. Only hippies, libs, and that Spider-Man villain Electro drives Teslas. Real men prefer real cars. That's a real car, hippie. 797 horsepower. You can see my greatest flex, my Hellcat, and other cool things on my Instagram. Find me there at bitboy_crypto. But the point is, I prefer a lot of things over Teslas, including Bitcoin. One argument against Bitcoin is that it's so volatile. But is that true? Well, when you compare BTC to the Tesla stock, you'll find that BTC isn't quite as volatile as the stock featured in the Idiot's Guide to Buying One Stonk. It's not a real book. In reality, though, Bitcoin has been extremely calm compared to the Tesla stock over several recent months. And the funny thing about this is that it still seems like Bitcoin has been pretty volatile, bouncing between 10K and 12.3K for several months. But when you examine the chart since January for Tesla, you can see the buildup of the Tesla price movement. And I don't know what you stonk people call this, but in my world, the underbelly of cryptocurrency. We would call that Tesla chart a pump and dump. It looks extremely manipulated in my opinion.
But I thought that didn't happen in the safe stocks world.
Well, Elon Musk has been fined and punished for comments that have supposedly affected the price of Tesla. Weird. But hey, at least he's the CEO of Dogecoin, am I right? If you're going to manipulate prices, you might as well come on home, Elon, to cryptocurrency. So how volatile has Tesla been? Since June, TSLA has seen bigger percentage moves in either direction than Bitcoin. It's almost October, so that's 4 months, guys. And in recent weeks, the gap has been widening in volatility, with the stock showing much wider ranges than BTC. And it feels like by looking at this Tesla chart, it could be time for another dump. And unless we get that stimulus money, which probably isn't going to happen at least this year. But we'll crush your hopes and dreams for a free 80-incher from the government in another video. Speaking of things that aren't safe, how about keeping your money on exchanges? That's always fun, right? Well, not so fun for ERC20 token holders on KuCoin over the weekend, as $150 million worth of ERC20s were siphoned off the site by a hacker. Now listen, personally, I love KuCoin. I had some money on there myself. Now luckily, it wasn't ERC20 tokens, so my funds were okay. It's some money that I have for trading, and it's hard to keep that kind of money off exchanges because you're using them so frequently, if you're using centralized exchanges, of course. But this is yet another example of why you cannot have money sitting on exchanges. KuCoin has vowed not to allow this to affect users, and they will be using its insurance fund to keep users from losing money. I don't know how much KuCoin is worth itself, you could probably Google it, but 150 M's is enough to break most smaller exchanges. That's how some exchanges become insolvent, and if you don't think that could happen, just remember Mt. Gox, the biggest exchange in cryptocurrency named after Magic the Gathering, you nerds. Now, for most of you guys, you might have to look it up, but it was $450 million in Bitcoin stolen, and it broke the biggest exchange at that time. It was basically the only exchange people used, and it's been almost 8 years, and I'm still waiting on my refund for them. But many people believe KuCoin has handled this massive blow like a champ. We'll have a little bit more about this hack and its effect on crypto a little later this week. Now, today's show is sponsored by Rubik.exchange. You can think of this project in the same vein as TrustSwap, which that's a long story, Distex, and Lid. It is basically trying to make this crazy world of decentralized exchanges and decentralized token sales safer by removing high-risk, scammy projects from their platform. Crowd sales will also be available to get launched on that platform via public or private sales. Investors will also be able to get a percentage of every successful trade that happens on the site. They will also be integrating Uniswap and Curve, so you guys can throw on those farmer hats and break out the John Deere. The point of all of this, though, is for scams and rug pulls to stop. They become far too frequent in the world of decentralized finance. On regular swap sites like Uniswap, they're impossible to prevent. But with platforms like Rubik.exchange, they lock liquidity, so you don't have to worry about the tokenomics of a project or what's going to be locked. Now, starting next month, Rubik will be supporting other blockchains, including Tron and Binance. So please make sure to check out Rubik.exchange, and thank you to Rubik for supporting the channel. BitBoy out.